In the 90s, wrestling captivated the imaginations of fans all around the world. In the year 1995, it launched a new brand in SIDE. SIDE was run from the home of one AVW, who was the founder of the company. The last WWF broadcast that AVW had produced would be the first ever SIDE broadcast, which held an over-the-top rope battle royal for the first ever SIDE champion. And the man to emerge from that triumphant battle would be none other than then announcer Big Ten Money, then known as A-Man. You have to understand that what we have here is a guy with all the charisma, all the potential, the look, the muscle, everything that one needs to become a major successful star in anything, not just wrestling, music, singing, acting, whatever it may be. Big Ten Money had it.
And check here, you had the big now talking about when I went in there for that SIDE title dog, I went through all them niggas over that top rope and stepped man is number 20. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas wasn't expecting that from the 10. Niggas wasn't never expecting that from the 10. That's what made me the star that I was. That was the star that I am. You know what I'm talking about? This shit right here, this shit out here real, you heard me? You know what I'm saying? I did that shit to feed my family. You know what I'm saying?
Big Ten Money would not only hold the SIDE championship for quite some time, but he would also form a faction, and they would call themselves the A-Man Nation. In the early goings, the A-Man Nation was SIDE's hottest ticket. I mean, you had the champ A-Man, you had big names like King Kong, and a lot of things that SIDE was trying to do was incorporate the things that all the other companies were doing and have that all in one show. And they did that. That's one thing that they did. As a matter of fact, one of their highlight stars had to be Baby. Josie Johnson, named Baby by her peers because of the way she speaks, was SIDE's first lady. She was the first ever woman cruiserweight champion, tag team champion, and held it for quite a long time with her partner Johnny Polo, who was also a part of the A-Man Nation. In 1997, SIDE would change its face and brought in a new summer season for the brand, as it brought in Power Move Pro Wrestling guys such as Gorgon, Lance Duloc, Malibu Mike, and others. 12 new names were assigned to the roster, and the face of SIDE as they knew it would change forever. Well, Power Move Pro Wrestling was a wrestling show based in London, and I was the main announcer for that, but it was suddenly going under until SIDE came and merged together with us. We didn't have very many guys, and SIDE took over Power Move Pro Wrestling, and it's a good thing that it did because it gave a lot of guys a chance to get a name for themselves, and we've really just flourished ever since SIDE stepped into our lives. But not everyone was smiling with SIDE. One member of the PPW Alliance, King Og, had problems with AVW backstage. I've been wrestling for about 8 years, on and off, for Power Move Pro. I started when I was about 25, and before that I was a trucker. I had a trucking career, made pretty decent money, but I always did love wrestling. And one night during a show, a taping of PPV or PPW, AVW called me into his office, and he said, "Tonight you're gonna wrestle up against Elton Bloor." I said, "Well, that's no problem." He said, "But that'll be your last match, unfortunately." And I said, "Well, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I don't have any money. I don't have anything to do." He looked me dead in my eyes, and he said, "I don't know what you're going to do. Tonight's your last match, and that's it." And, you know, if it wasn't for the glory of God, I would have smacked him in his face right there. But I went out and did my match, and, you know, lucky for me, I still got a job in the trucking company. Dude, the King Og situation was flawed, man. But I never tried AVW. Nobody ever tried AVW because he was the one signing the checks, especially the PPW guys. And, you know, I got hurt at pay-per-view. I broke my thumb, and he still made me compete. I competed the very next day. But the era in Power Move Pro Wrestling would only be short-lived, as Joe had continued to move on, only keeping a few members of Power Move Pro Wrestling to move on with SIDE's season, bringing in wrestlers from WWE and WCW alike, forming a unique brand and a brand new SIDE. Well, let's see then. Gorgon stayed, the referee Sally stayed, El Temblor, Sparrow, Mike Swanson, and Lance. Now that's 6 out of 12 guys. You do the math. You know, a lot of those guys got cut short, and we had big guys, big top names coming in, talking about Hollywood Hogan, Kevin Nash, the Bret Harts, the Shawn Michaels, you name it. They was coming there for SIDE, and they was there to make it big. But when they tried to have the SIDE and WCW, and then they went on to try to have SIDE and WWF, that whole thing flopped. Right there, you was doing way too much, and too many guys. You know, it was too many big names in such a small place. It just exploded. What many people fail to realize about the SIDE WCW merger is that it didn't work at first, but later on, it began to work because they had the Friday show, SIDE Attitude, and then the Saturday show, SIDE Mayhem. Fridays the WWE guys, Saturdays the WCW guys, and all over was the SIDE guys, and that is what worked with their merger. And what you talking about wrestling? I mean, SIDE. Chaz, I was the SIDE Cruiserweight champions, okay? And I had a whole lot of belts, but like on Saturdays, like to me, those Saturdays, they was better because like you had the Cruiserweights from WCW. And since I was the like heavyweight champion, I used to like to defend against them, like Rey Mysterio and Ruben Toombs. Hey, Ruben Toombs. But yeah, so I like the Saturday show better, but being a part of those shows made me feel real special. SIDE had finally gotten to where AVW had always wanted it to be. In 1999, it had reached its pinnacle, along with wrestling all over the world, as it was a worldwide phenomenon. But one night, on a Saturday night taping of Mayhem, things got out of control before the show. So one night, about 10-15 minutes before showtime, Mayhem come up missing. The CD to get the whole show started. And so we didn't know what was going on. And AVW, he began to panic after a while because he had no idea where it was. And then he remembered earlier that day, he was playing some basketball with a couple of friends of his, Guadalupe and another friend that he had brought over, and they were snooping around through his stuff. So AVW was pissed, and he hopped on his bike, and he rode his bike all the way over to Lupe's house that night. And he was going to pick a fight with him. I was there with him. He was ready to pick a fight. And he asked him where the game was, and there was Lupe with a big grin on his face, laughing. And he was like, damn, you came all the way over here? AVW said, you damn right. And he had his fist balled up. He was ready to punch his lights out. But yeah, wasn't nothing going to stop AVW from doing the show. If he had a show in mind, it didn't matter. It might start late. And it started late that night, probably about 30 minutes late. But we went on the air, and it was a great show, but it almost didn't happen, boy, I tell you. Both Mayhem and Attitude were both successful for AVW and SIDE. But AVW had a new idea in mind, bridging the gap between a brand who he had never crossed before, ECW. Well, as a wrestling promoter, I did everything that I wanted to do. And with ECW, I didn't know any of these guys, and I thought that it would be a good idea to bring them in with my guys because they were extreme. And that's what SIDE was. It was extreme. And so we brought these guys in, and boy, did they ever deliver. For the ECW merger, WWE and WCW were out of the picture, and for the late 1999 into 2000, it was all ECW and extreme competition. Yeah, the WWE guys were out of the picture. Wasn't no more Hollywood Hogans, no more Kevin Nash. It was about the Jerry's of the world. It was about Rob Van Dam and Taz. And SIDE brought in some crazy stuff. They had barbed wire matches we had never seen that. People was being set on fire. And we had one unique matchup where it was an octagon surrounded by the cage. And that was a hot ticket right there. ECW closed the chapter on SIDE and was the final brand that they bridged with before their demise in the year 2000, when they came out with their last pay-per-view in December of that year, SIDE Ring of Kings.